I wish you would stop being so fucking dishonest about it. I wish you would actually stand up for once in your life about these topics. If you ever grow but I think these are videos of himself. It is. It's videos of himself talking into a camera, because RTBA has found his Instagram account session. He's still posting about me. Am I gonna be able to answer this without him interrupting?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so
Isn't it funny how he actually
don't
accuses me
let him
of the
answer
very
though.
thing that he
oh my god. I need to have like a stream psychologist that I can refer these people to have a conversation and get them. Here, I'll link this in chat. I think it is. This looks like the schizophrenic emails and shit that I get. There you go. Isn't he grifting? No, it's like, I'm trying to think. Can I write like, maybe it's not schizophrenic. These are like the types of emails that I get from people where it feels like they're schizophrenic, okay? This is like how these emails are structured. Hey, Destiny, I'm a big fan. I've been watching stuff from you for a while. I saw your debates. I think you're really intelligent. I think we would get along great. Pretty intelligent too. I share a lot of your viewpoints, especially feeling like there are other people that don't quite understand us. In your last debate, you touched on a bit of philosophy, and I was curious if you'd ever heard anything about quantum physio-realism and mechanistic utilitarianist theory. Something I've been wrestling with for a long time. Personal revelations I've had over a great deal of time regarding the true nature of the world and the reality that we both inhabit sometimes. Example, this is like a massive picture of totally unrelated shit. Example, story about political leader from from like alt media that's like very strange, very weird. I think there are lots of people, or no, it's not, right? It's always this guy. It's not how I feel like, they don't use I feel statements. I've been observing for a long time these erratic events around the world. I know you also are able to perceive these things. I can tell by the way you talk around these ideas on stream. I wish you would stop being so fucking dishonest about it. I wish you would actually stand up for once in your life about these topics. If you ever grow a fucking pair of balls, maybe one day you'll talk with me. I'm not holding my breath. There's like, this is like every, like these types of like schizo emails that I get are like, there's always like, it starts off totally normal where it's like, oh, it's like a chill person. And then it gets into like, they're always like, you know, like, I am really smart. I think you and me are on the same way. They feel like I'm like talking to them or have communicated with them or whatever. And then out of nowhere, it hops into these like crazy, like, do you know about this, like the divine ethereal archangel theory of blah, blah, blah. And it'll be something that isn't real. They've made it up. I can't Google it and find any of this information. And they'll talk a little bit about it. There'll always be links to really bizarre news stories or like forum posts they've done analyzing a ton of bizarre news stories. Sometimes there'll be random like caps lock statements or whatever. They'll be talking about it. They're very like narcissistic. Like they're the only ones that have seen this, that understand it. They're frustrated other people don't understand. Usually they'll get aggressive towards me because they either assume that I'm lying about it and I won't, right? This is like the framework for, I'm uncomfortable. I can't really diagnose it as schizophrenic, but it feels like schizophrenic. Like it's always like these types of emails that come from people. And then when I get more and more from like, this guy seems like he's like a psychotic fucking break. But I'm sorry, I'm reading this post on this website, this godlikeproductions.com. I'm scared of like, oh, but I don't know if there's gonna be a porn pop-up or something. But like it reads to me like you've got like the all caps, like crazy like declaration. You've got the links to all the random news stories. You've got like the all caps statements, like screaming. You've got the massive conspiracy theory that he thinks he alone is uncovered. All of it is like loosely connected with these weird alternative media websites. Yeah, but okay, sorry, let me. Leak an example, but protect the name. I'm trying to find, I usually save it in this folder. So this is an example of like what I would consider to be like a I think this person is like schizophrenic. But like it doesn't all read like insanely. It doesn't all seem crazy, but there are parts of it. I'll just, I'm posting a screenshot of it in chat. Hold on. Honest to God, I haven't actually read the entirety of this email. But I'll read through some of it and we can kind of like go through what I feel like is, so like I'll get like an email like this, okay? So, hey man, thanks for holding so strongly to your ideals because it helped me to get a new lease on life. I fucking love myself and I don't give a fuck about stupid fucking thoughts of everyone else because I have also had to live inside my own head for too long hating myself and that the lens I viewed the world was only able to exist insofar as how something else could exist. I understand now that every human being I interact with fucking hates themselves and that I've been there. I wanted to kill myself for the past 26 years. I don't know why. It's because I tried to approach everyone in good faith and trust in their understandings of themselves. I allowed myself to value their conclusions instead of trying to correct their process, and the conclusions that they made of their lives made me feel like I could no longer exist because the level of compassion and care that I try to extend to every single human being on the planet is that to fucking exist in humanity, you're now going to have to fucking understand why someone with my fucking stupid ass thoughts exists in yours, and now you're going to have to deal with my thought and just trust that my fucking conclusion is that every single fucking human being on the planet should have their thoughts heard and that humans should exist. Now I just get to decide the people that I care about, like this whole, there's just like a bunch of like, it's like random crazy, like their like view of the world and like, yeah, holy shit. The people I care about around me will have to trust my process. Where are we at? Of understanding them, and that I will die on any cross that is presented when someone else allows themselves to feel hatred for someone that I care about, not knowing they do not understand the people I care about, but the darkest thoughts I exist within my head I cannot allow to manifest within the world. Instead, I will maintain everyone else's purity and try to be a part of that purity and kill off everything they think is bad with me. Like, yeah, this is like an example of what I think. And I have like a few people that email me, just... And they'll do this thing where they keep bouncing between like really liking me and then fucking hating me. And yeah, I'd call that manic, not schizophrenic. The reason why I use schizophrenic, I don't know any of the diagnostic criteria, so maybe it's not fair, but the reason why I say schizophrenic is because it's usually combined with a huge deal of paranoia, and then it's usually combined with them having this feeling that they have this keen insight into like the structure of reality or the universe in a way that nobody else does, that they've like keyed in on something. That's what it makes it feel like a little bit, like they've figured out or divine, and then oftentimes it'll get like supernatural or spiritual or like extra like non-material that goes into some weird shit as well. Here's another one. It's too big for me to screenshot. So this guy, he emailed a ton of people. There's like 10 other people CC'd in this. I think they're all like streamers or whatever. See my video on YouTube about the massacre of the Creoles, or is it Creoles? I don't know how to pronounce this. All black and part black in New Orleans in 1935 by German Nazis, and then the civil rights crime committed by me. So in this email, this guy claims, is it Creole? Sorry, Creole. This guy claims that he is, I think he did this. Let me check. Hold on. Do you have any idea how dangerous it is for me to reveal these things? My father, Frenchman, educated and raised by the Creoles of New Orleans, trained me from a young boy to find out everything I could about what the Nazis did in the U.S. and expose it one day. I'm doing that now. I hope you realize who your real enemies are. CNN, Fox, and MSNBC. My father, brutally beaten and abused in my house, blah, blah, blah. Here's what my Skype page looks like. And then it's just like a picture of his like Skype profile. I don't know why. I am the last person, the last descendant of a group of people in the U.S. who were all murdered, genocide in the U.S. I am informing you about the murder of the Creoles, all part African in New Orleans in 1935. Below is a letter from a congressman confirming what is in this email. In addition, there are 2 YouTube links confirming similar events in both Utah and New Orleans. See the Francis Ford Coppola emails below and my work in literature, psychiatry, and psychology in the article. Oh, usually the people that email these things too, they also always claim that they're like multidisciplinary experts. So they'll say that they're like masters of physics, masters of psychology, masters of philosophy, masters of mathematics. Like they'll say that they're very multidisciplinary. They always claim that they are like geniuses in all of these areas as well, every single time. A doctor in New Orleans told me you can tell if someone is a real doctor if they can write a prescription in front of you. If they have to go back to his office and look it up, they are not a real doctor. That comes from a doctor in New Orleans. A real doctor told me that. Now, Barons also told me, I wonder if he even said who this guy was. Leonard Barons of Meriara, LA. Barons also told me he asked to murder his lawyer partner by these people they are involved with. Gave him a gun, told him to shoot his partner in the back of the head. Call them, leave the gun, and go home. Next day, everything in the office was like nothing ever happened. Barons said this guy also came in through Drover, so it was easy to get rid of him. I've heard, yeah, this is so much. There's so much in this email. It's like, let's see what the 2 YouTube videos he links are. Oh, and then
Nazis control the United States.
I think that this is, I don't want to like, I don't know if he says bad things, but I think these are videos of himself. It's videos of himself talking into a camera. You know, he's like an older guy. Here's another one.
How do Nazis wind up in Utah in 1940? I used to help some Mormon missions, etc. One day they told me the story about World War II, that in 1940 when the war started.
Yeah, I don't know, just
Immediate right. A skinny, weaselly-looking Robert De Niro sat across the table a little to my right, and Diane Keaton was also across the table from me. As Pacino told me later, the entire film was rewritten at that dinner with my help, and many specific lines of The Godfather came from my lips. Pacino told me people had come to him and told him he was really German, not Italian. He said he always thought he was Italian, but these people, whom he didn't.
This is going to be a series of YouTube videos. It's going to involve terminology that's being used in the United States.
they always like they usually lay out like a bunch of like terminology because they have words that they use in ways that like, yeah, I feel like I've dealt with so many of these people. I say deal with, I mean, it's just like seeing emails and sometimes responding or whatever. I'm not like actively involved, but like I would be really curious if I could like get a psychologist, if I could introduce some of these people, because I really do feel like some of these people are schizophrenic. Yeah, it's crazy because they sound, they usually sound really lucid in their writings and in their speech. Like, if you listen to what they're saying, it's crazy. But if you just listen to them talk kind of casually, like they sound like, oh yeah, like, you know, I sit here and I chill. I can see a ton of messages on the wall. You know, they come out, obviously. I can perceive them. Like, yeah, of course. Why are you asking me if I can? They're right there, obviously. Yeah. If you ever ask them about things like this, they get like pretty offended. Like, it's obvious. You know, I don't know. Like, yeah, geez. But anyway, sorry. That guy gave off schizo vibes. That's all I'm saying. Jesus.
Ye wins LLLLLLLLL.
Schizophrenia is not what you think it is. What? Tell me what part I'm wrong about if you think. I feel like I have a pretty decent understanding of schizophrenia. Would you say that's the worst of the emails? I think the Michael Gorlitsky guy was probably the weirdest of the emails. And that guy ended up actually getting arrested for some weird shit he said about his school. This guy, he donated a long time ago. I don't know if you guys remember him. His name was Mouthpiece User. He donated like $25. He actually talked to me on stream. We talked to this guy before he got arrested. So you said that aliens live among us? How does that work?
Well, we built bases for them. A lot of bases. There's a whole fucking... This Phil Schneider guy, he was so intimately involved in this. They have a lot of amazing technology that enables them to build many, many bases. They're basically... When I was starting to play Minecraft, I would do this. I would just go build underground bases, deep underground military bases. These people are playing Minecraft with the real world. And they've been doing that for a long time. And basically, all of our religions paint these aliens as saviors. And probably a lot of the reason for that is because there's some sort of divine law that forbids them from landing because they are invaders, they are malicious. If there is a god out there, it probably smites them every time they try to land, and they probably know this. Probably why they're so keen on seeding our religions, because they cannot allow the possibility of us plausibly having our own soul without owing to some formatted genetic manipulation that they don't know. Apparently, this planet would have just had chimpanzees that would eventually naturally evolved into humans, and they kind of like hijacked that and accelerated it to the point where now it's destroying nature. I think on their own planet, they killed off all of the life on their planet. And this is what Phil Schneider is saying, that to eventually exterminate all life on Earth is something that very much in the cards for humans' future. And this, I think, would be a direct violation of everything that Jesus stood for when he was crucified. I actually believe that Jesus probably was the physical incarnation of God, wherefore mankind had some relevance in that faculty. I would further compare it to the character in the Brave New World book, known as the Savage. He had a massive interest in Shakespeare. I also have an interest in Shakespeare in books like Beth and Hamlet, for instance. But also, I got this book, the Tales of Edgar Allan Poe, the Essential Tales and stuff. Some of my religion explains what poetry actually is.
Are you certain?
That's a quote inside one of my Chess24 profile. I guess I'm an active member on Chess24 now. And although I have deleted quite a lot of my more crazy sounding stuff, basically, I'm no stranger to humoring some of the more crazy things that come out of my stupid mouth. This is probably one of the less stupid things I copy-pasted a quote. Perhaps poetry is the recognition of accurate urgency, wherefore one confidently identifies the relevance of that perspective. Like Macbeth, I have to deal with the plausibility that I am trying to sell myself as a Jesus figure, and that is a horrible thing I have to live with.
Do people messaging you that kind of stuff ever freak you out, or is it always just interesting to you? It's a lot more scary to me post mushroom trip, because the frightening thing is these people, I don't know what their experience is like, because in their head, everything they're saying seems to make sense. It comports with reality as much as it ever could, because the only way they can evaluate it, is through their own lens, right? So like theoretically, like could I be schizophrenic right now? Like are there people around me that are trying to like shoo me off the computer, but I'm just like sitting in a computer that isn't even connected to the internet pretending that I'm a streamer? Like, I don't know. Would that be like the experience that a schizophrenic person has? Because somebody in chat said this is a really good point. People think that like, oh, if you're schizophrenic, everything is wacky and crazy. No, not really. You're still a reasonable, rational human being. You're just, you like the faculty of reason is there, but there are delusions and I say external, but they're still internal. There are delusions and other things that are pushing your rationality in a different direction. If you really did have like auditory or ocular, visual. If you had auditory or visual hallucinations that were like pushing you in a direction and it started to feed into a lot of paranoia and you did start to get these ideas, these delusions of grandeur or whatever, it's not like if you talk to a schizophrenic, they're not just going to be like, oh, I'm the wacky blah, blah, blah. Like everything they're saying has like justifications and makes sense and they'll argue and they'll even get frustrated if you're not understanding. So yeah, it's a really scary thing to see somebody else fall into it because like, damn, you have no idea. You're actually fucking crazy. You're insane. And you don't realize it. And there's no way for you to realize it. It's like Dunning-Kruger for mental illness. Like that, I think that's really frightening to me. I'm not scared of them. I'm scared of, I guess, myself, right? Of like, yeah.
Thank you, Steven!
Finally putting out good content now that Twitch released a leaderboard. I think you handled it well. I can't believe he said the F word. That dude was absolutely insane. Hi.
I feel like I've outpaced him intellectually.
Love your stuff, buddy. Corn or flour tortillas?
Destiny, come on, man. It's an incredibly varied and complicated disorder, and using it as a random insult for people that are just crazy is weird. Okay, it's very weird for you to say that to me and then use the term just crazy. I don't think there are people that are just crazy. I think that some of these people that email me are legitimately schizophrenic. That's why it's irritating to me because a lot of people will use like, oh, he's a schizo. But I try to be very deliberate. It's like, I don't think I ever use schizo as an insult. Like when I say schizophrenic, I genuinely feel like these people are schizophrenic. That guy that was in Ice Poseidon's house that walked me out, the big Hispanic dude, that I'm pretty sure that dude was schizophrenic as well. Like he was already very strange and it was very weird talking to him. And then as soon as we left that room and he started talking to me about how like our ancestors were like these holy people, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I don't know. Like that was like super fucking creepy to me as well. Like, holy shit. Schizo posting is a term on 4chan for years. I thought you were using it like that. No. When I say schizophrenic, I mean like I genuinely do believe that some of these people are schizophrenic. Or maybe there are other types of mental illnesses. Schizophrenia is not a personality disorder, right? Schizophrenia is like is considered an illness. I don't, hold on, I gotta figure out, or like it's like a mental disorder, not a personality disorder, right? Like it's not like narcissistic personality disorder, borderline personality disorder. It's like an actual like mental disorder because it can involve like actual psychosis. But Yeah, there might be other like psychotic mental illnesses that I don't know about that maybe more accurately would more accurately describe them. But you talked to some ex-league player once that also said, yes, was it Glee or no, Gleep? Who was it? Does anybody know? XJ9 is not schizophrenic. Glebe Glob. Maybe it was Glebe. I think that guy had it too. There is another guy that's in Anna's Discord server now that I saw talking from StarCraft. I don't know if you guys remember as well. Mr. Puffy, I think. Pughy, who I also think started to become like legitimately, like psychotic sounds so, I feel like, fuck, maybe I should just say psychotic, but like they started to have this pattern of like, they were talking about really weird, crazy shit. It usually involved like these grand solutions or these like huge conspiracies involving the entire planet. They were the ones that had like this key or keen insight that they believed that they shared with me. It was like pretty disorganized. They would bounce between like being very lucid and actually making sense versus like going into these like, they were still sounded lucid, but like psychotic delusions. Yeah. Yeah, Glebe was one. That Mr. Puffy guy did it too. Yeah, but I don't know. It's weird. Did we catch up on these? I don't think I did.
Premium content at the end. Can't believe the amount of projection with fallacies. Have you totally freed yourself from your Christian upbringing? Or do you ever get a tiny, niggling feeling you're gonna get struck by lightning for the blasphemy?
I feel like I've outpaced him intellectually.
Almost converted from Pepe to Ye, but disavow is okay. So God made the earth, he said this shit is boring. Earth is just blah, so I'ma cook up some blondes. Lawson Harrison, $5. Tom Jump, you spoke with him a while back, has the most coherent and sane framework for secular objective morality I've heard currently.
Okay. Do you necessarily have to be crazy to believe in those conspiracies? I wish I could explain what I'm talking about, but they're not just like, it's not just like a crazy conspiracy theorist. It's like a different type of thing. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. They're not just conspiracy theorists. They're people that like, fuck. It's like a feeling I want to interact with them. I'm trying to think of how I can describe this. If somebody comes up to me and they link me like 15 Daily Wire articles or some shit, they're like, oh yeah, the vaccines are fake. That's different than usually when I talk to these people that feel like schizophrenic to me, it's not like one particular conspiracy theory about one particular thing. It's like a grand theory that might stretch back through aeons or might like describe all of space and time, or it might be like more biblical, supernatural in nature, but also still affect everything on the planet. Like it's usually way more grand. I've never had somebody email me that is like, wow, this guy thinks that vaccines give you microchips. This guy is schizophrenic. It's more like somebody said like, I think that vaccines are evil. And I think this because there is an evil plot. And the way that I know this is because I'm part of, it would be hard for you to understand, but I'm called a translucendiary. And we're actually descendants from the Archangel Michael. And I've seen you. I know that you talk about this because when I watch you play League of Legends and you reference Lux's light a lot, you use the exact same phrases. So I know you know what I'm talking about. But as being part of these people and as seeing things like the vaccination stuff and everything, like it'll be like that. It'll be like a way more grander thing. And they're always at the center of it. They're always like, they have a keen insight on it. They're either uniquely involved or like they're like the center part of it, or they're like uniquely investigatory of it. Like they've got like some insight about it. It's always like, it's more than just, it's not just like a conspiracy theorist. They are the center of like this whole universe of conspiracy that they've created that is always like supernatural or immaterial in nature, whatever. Yeah. The dude that was stalking Angel's Kimmy, I think that guy was schizophrenic. Yeah, I do. The guy that wrote like the 500-page wiki on all of us. Yeah. Ideas and delusions of reference. Oh, the Angels Kimmy guy still stalks me. Yeah, true. Because RTBA has found his Instagram account and shit. He's still posting about me, which is really weird. I've never heard this like an actual name for this before. Ideas of reference and delusions of reference usually describe the phenomenon of an individual experiencing innocuous events or mere coincidences and believing that they have strong personal significance. It is the notion that everything one perceives in the world relates to one's own destiny, usually in a negative and hostile manner. In psychiatry, delusions of reference form part of the diagnostic criteria for psychotic illnesses such as schizophrenia, delusional disorder, bipolar disorder, as well as schizotypal personality disorder, and even autism when under periods of intense stress. Okay, interesting. Ideas of reference must be distinguished from delusions of reference, which may be similar in content but are held with greater conviction. While the former, not the latter, the person may feel that the feeling is strange to him, but if challenged, acknowledges that the people may be talking about something else. From the psychoanalytic view, there may be at the same time transitions to delusions from ideas of reference. There's a really good conversation with a schizophrenic person. We saw this. It was like a lady interviewing a guy in bed. I'm sorry, not in bed. It was a lady interviewing a guy in a room. An older lady. This was like an older video. Does anybody remember what we watched? It was interesting listening to him talk. The thing is, this is like the weird thing too, okay? Because every time you see it like in movies and shit, like schizophrenic people or people with schizophrenia affective disorder or I believe the proper term. They always seem, if you're not really listening that closely, they sound lucid. They sound like everything they're saying like makes sense.
In the act of
if you're not paying attention to what they're actually saying.
Crimes.
Like what?
Like murder, rape, brutal beatings, extortion, illicit drug trafficking.
Did you kill them?
Yes.
To prevent them from doing that, or what?
Well, when it got back to their leaders, it did stop quite a few illegal events from happening.
What do you mean by their leaders?
Their highest in command.
Are you talking about the mafia or what?
Yes, indeed. Mafiosi, Cosa Nostra. They used to be the same, but they're no longer. They divided up in this nation, and a few from other nations that were stepping on illegal grounds for information gathering purposes.
What made you decide to take it into your own hands to do that?
I was the highest ranking official at the time.
Highest ranking official in what?
In intelligence.
Oh, so you work in intelligence?
Yes.
What were you doing when you were in the car that crashed?
Yeah. Oh, this guy might claim he's a time traveler, I think. We watched this before, but... Is there a way to address schizophrenic people in your community? Like steps you could take to make the risk of these people latching onto you less severe? I don't know. I need to look at... I was going to read that at one point in time. You're not supposed to challenge schizophrenic people on their delusions. I know that, because that'll just cause like an episode, and you'll get into a fight or something. I don't know. The treatment, I think, has to be like a form of I think you give them some sort of antipsychotic medication that can help alleviate at least some of the hallucinations, and then like a lot of therapy. But depending on like how severe the disease is, you might have to medicate them before they get to a point where they can even begin to address their delusions. I think you have to. It's like a pretty careful process. You can't just be like, "Bro, you're hallucinating. Stop being so fucking weird." And they're like, "Oh, you're right. These thoughts aren't real. You got me, bro." Right? It's really, really, really. You can't do that. You just can't do that. Yeah. Destiny, yeah, using schizo loosely comes off as ableist. Okay. Even if you might be right, just say delusional, irrational, or anything else not listed in the DSM. But that doesn't convey what I'm talking about, though, right? Like just saying like, oh yeah, like I talked to a guy who was delusional and irrational. Like it's not conveying with what I'm trying to convey. Yeah, I don't know what else to say besides like, I think this person might be schizophrenic.
I feel like
I don't know how else to like get that across. But I understand when you're here, you think I'm just saying like, oh, he's a schizo. Like I really don't say that. I don't say that lightly. Like there's like a specific pattern of like behavior where like I feel like this guy is totally disconnected. This guy has like crazy delusions of him being the center part of some like global conspiracy. He seems like there's like a whole list of like shit. I don't know if the last guy was like schizophrenic. Maybe when I read that post on that website though, it looked a lot like those types of emails I get. Crazy post, all cap shit, insane conspiracies, YouTube videos that he's posted, him having a unique and keen insight on what's going on. And like, that's just what it, I don't know, maybe, but I need like a different word to describe them besides like, they're not just delusional and irrational, right? Like I might say like Trump supporters are delusional, they're irrational, right? But they're not really irrational. It's very rare when someone is, very rarely is somebody actually incapable of reason or rationality, right? That's almost inconceivable, right? So we use these words a bit hyperbolically. We don't really mean that, you know? I need to stop using, I don't know another word, like conspiracy has two meanings and people get uncomfortable when I say, it's my fault. I should be more clear sometimes. Sometimes when I say like, so you're alleging a conspiracy. Sometimes people just say like, oh, conspiracy? Like conspiracy theory? No. When I say, just so you guys understand this, because I still fuck up. I shouldn't use this word in debates because it immediately makes somebody offensive. When I'm saying that like there's a conspiracy, all I'm saying is there's some sort of like organized plan or plot. So like the Great Reset, we'll say like maybe the Great Reset is real or whatever, and it's like all is happening. So there's like a conspiracy. But like a conspiracy theory is usually like a more like that means like, oh, that's crazy, you know? But conspiracies are a real thing, right? You can be indicted on conspiracy, like if you're plotting a murder or whatever, right? That's like a conspiracy. So I that's what I was trying to ask. Like, do you think there's like a conspiracy to like cause the Great Reset? And it's like, oh, it's not a conspiracy theory. I didn't say it right. Yeah, fuck. I need to find a different word for that, right? Yeah. So yeah, when people like conspire against royalty or conspire against whatever. Yeah.